in the previous talk, we were discussing dissociation, and it made me think of something you mentioned in the books, and just a trend in society generally. I think you mentioned in the books, just streets full of people looking at their phones. And I've noticed that recently. I've also noticed, the sort of proliferation of self-scanning checkout machines. So you don't even have to speak to a human being now when you go into the supermarket.
That seems to be the goal.
and I know people who say, that's great. I don't have to engage with someone. I can just do my own thing. But where's the humanity? Where's the connection? Which, as you've said in a different, chat that we had, that's one of the things you like when you go shopping, to actually interact with another human being. Another example of it was I rang a friend of mine. She's my age. She's not even a young person. And, I called her and she put the phone down. And I called her again, she put the phone down. And after about 3 tries, she picked up the phone. And I said, Alice, what's going on? And she said, oh, no one ever calls me now. They'll text message. So I just thought it was a mistake. It was a wrong number, or you weren't calling me. And that's her life. People don't even talk to each other now. They just send text messages. I mean, I know examples of young people who, don't like the idea of going out and meeting people. They'd rather sit on the games terminal or their phone rather than actually speak, with their friends or go out and interact with them.
Yeah. So technology is continually expanding and it's having an effect on society. Now, you might imagine that this was happening and the effect it had in terms of depersonalizing life. In the way you've just described, that there would be an outcry about it. That people say, well, technology is good, but we don't want to do that. But that's not happening, is it? It's like a drip feed. And it becomes normal, as you say, that you don't speak to people on the phone. You text because it's easier. And you don't interact with a cashier because we don't need to do that anymore. There are centres to deal with kids who are kind of internet junkies and can't get off it. So the fact that that even exists says so much, doesn't it? This has been absorbed by society. It's not been, the reaction against it has not been much. It's more been, this is the new normal. And I'm saying the reason this is because this society is run by personality, the group personality. The personality likes anonymity. It doesn't like to be exposed. It doesn't like to feel. And community and connection is all about feeling. So it's actually very safe to be lost in the world of a computer game. I mean, this is the archetypal symbol of it, isn't it? For a child to be more secure and choosing to enter a video game world, a virtual world, rather than the real world, the world that we are talking in and communicating in now. There's nothing wrong with entertainment, and it's amazing some of the effects and what these games. I mean, don't think I've even played one. For me, the last computer game, if you'd even call it that, was a game in the 80s called Asteroids. Yeah, and I remember what it does to your heart rate. I mean, it's geared to giving you the thrill. It gives you adrenaline.
What's it, serotonin, or it hits your reward centre.
Yeah.
All of these games are geared towards you having a little ding of pleasure in your reward centre.
It's not only avoiding feeling, but it's also your hit is coming from. It's like a drug, isn't it?
Yeah.
From the excitement and the stimulation. So you can see this in the context of everything I talk about in this inquiry, which is about full feeling engagement with life and how we distract ourselves from that. Technology provides a perfect place for everything that personality likes. So once again, there's nothing wrong with entertainment or playing a game and the wonders of what we can create, but it's just the use of that to escape or to get that hit or to escape feeling. That's what I'm addressing. So there's a difference between play and using these games as distraction. Now for me, play, I link very much with the natural state, with joy. And play has no ulterior motives. It comes from love, I think. There's no goals involved. There's no proving involved. Look at a child making a sandcastle. It's for its own sake. It's totally in that moment. It's a manifestation of joy. So then you put that playing and game with the personality, and you have something very different. And although it's technical play, it's not play in the way I think of play. Play is a pure thing of joy. So it's an interesting comparison.
It's making me think of the difference between me sort of playing a game of Monopoly, say with my nephews today, where I'm just playing and enjoying, and when I was playing with my brothers, where there was a need to win, there was something added on it. The personality had an investment in that. I'm better than you.
Yeah, and of course this is seen in every walk of life. We've started with technology, but basically we're talking about choices awareness, seeing the activities of personality in any area. So you play a game and you think you're having a lovely play, and then suddenly this need to win arises, or you've lost and you feel bad about yourself because I'm a loser, or whatever the personality does with it.
But it does seem, I mean, this is something that's spreading. We've had, sushi bars with automatic, conveyor belts that you just pick food from rather than speak to a waiter or waitress to ask what you want and, to have your food delivered. And, there are more restaurants and, that are purely automated, I think, opening, in the West. They've had them in the East and Japan for a while. And at the same time, we're having commensurate rates of increase in loneliness and isolation.
Yeah.
People need to connect, and yet society is going in the opposite way, isn't it? Becoming more atomised. I mean, bars are closing down because people are socialising at home. But you're not, in the same way you won't necessarily meet the same range of people as you would have done if you were going out more.
Mm.
So it's almost society, like the personality is choosing to live in a smaller and smaller world, because that's safe.
But there's a program on Black Mirror which deals with future, but not long way in the future, a little way in the future, and it's quite clever in that it highlights trends, what's going now, and it shows what the possible outcome of them are. And I would say the general feeling behind these programs is one of alienation. There's very little joy, and I think it's probably accurate because they're taking what's happening now and extrapolating it. For example, there was an episode about somebody being judged on social media, and you get a rating on your personality, I guess. And if you have a high rating, you can enter certain restaurants, for example, or get certain jobs. Well, I think that's quite a brilliant expression of what is actually happening. How many followers have you got? Therefore, you're a better person, you're a more interesting person, or whatever. So I think there's a good use for that. But I'm making the point that that society is alienated. It's a sick society, I think. So what is a sick society? That's kind of what we're discussing. And I would say a sick society is one that is divorced from the natural state. A society that is finding out or remembering what the natural state is leaning and walking towards joy and stillness. And from there, the problems that we're seeing are dissolved, solved. Okay. So I've laid out my take on what a healthy society would be. And of course, the next question, natural question would be, are we moving towards that? For me, I'm not really in the business of speculating about that. For me, it just it's like going off the edge of a cliff. I don't, first of all, I don't know. Why should I know? And B, to me right now, it's just not relevant. This is relevant because this is happening now.
What's happening now for me, on a positive note, is, maybe you and I and anyone watching these videos, we're doing that, aren't we? A bit. We're doing that bit of work, so I guess, there's, the fact that anyone's watching this, that's a positive.
Yeah, it's true. So it's not just with you. If anyone watching is also feeling and tuning into what we're talking about. So in that sense, that's a lovely thing. But then the idea of taking that and saying, and if enough people got this, and then community would change. Now, I understand the logic of that. I get the idea. But for me, there's no investment in that or need in that. Now, Yeah, I'm only describing this take. I'm not saying it should be any other this or that way. I'm just saying how it appears to be. In the end, it comes back to this happening now, or in the moment of somebody watching this in 3 days' time, and something is opened in them. That's in that moment. So, but that's beyond my control, my jurisdiction. It's all beyond my jurisdiction, or yours, or anybody's, really.